Hey guys, Brooke Whipple here. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm unboxing a Bark River knife. Also, we're going to stop in at Knives Ship Free. Knives Ship Free is one of the premier outlets for high-end custom knives. And we got to stop in there the other day. I'll show you that little visit. And we're going to unbox my new Bark River knife. That's right. And no, I didn't get it for free. Nope. I had to spend my hard-earned money on this. This is not a sponsored video. And anyway, this will be my first Bark River knife. Let's get to it. But what one did I choose? Which one is it? Alright guys, so here's the box. It comes in. Now the guys at Knife Ship Free, they wrap this all up for me just like they would for a delivery if they were going to send it through the mail. Here we go. It's not for you. Oh, there's the sheath. Nice heavy duty sheath. It's got a ferro rod holder there, but what does my knife look like? Let's take a look. So they got it all packaged up real nice. Oh, there's no food. Let me show you guys this. So guys, we're back in Escanaba and we're stopping at Knives Ship Free. Now this is an outlet for the Bark River knives that we visited yesterday, and we're gonna stop in the showroom and check out all the awesome knives. And I hope you brought your checkbook because they're not cheap. Let's go check it out. We're gonna talk to the owner and learn more about his place here. We got Bush Radical, he's got his stuff going on too. This is Knives Ship Free, guys.
You can see we're both filming at the same time with two different cameras.
Look at this! Look at this place full of knives. This is awesome.
Right.
Look at
So
all the
what we're doing here
knives.
today is we're gonna walk around, see what is here for sale in the showroom. Of course, as I understand it, you see on Knife Ship Free is here on hand, ready to be put in a box and sent out. Is that right?
That's correct.
We are here with Derrick Bohn of Knives Ship Free, internationally known knife retailer. What can you tell us about the factory and how you got started in this business?
Actually, I got started in this business because I always loved knives. And my wife and I were selling on eBay at the time. I was a pastor, and the way I could supplement my income. So we went through a variety of different things, including closeout merchandise. I said, we need to establish a brand that we can promote ourselves. Knives were something I loved, and they were something that we had sold on closeout. And trying to come up with a URL, and at that time, everybody ripped people off on shipping, and so that was kind of a pain point that people had.
That's awesome.
And I didn't know any better. We just thought you had to have stuff to ship it. But at that time, everything in the knife world, people would buy it, and then somebody would buy it, and then you would go out and find somebody to drop ship it to them. So if you purchased something, it might be 2 or 3 weeks before you ever got it. And so we actually sold things that we had so we could ship it right away.
Nice.
So people were pretty amazed.
It must be a real satisfaction too, knowing that you've built something that a giant community of people are aware of, and they like what you're doing in the space. That's got to be great, right?
It is very satisfying, and it's fun to be able to do something that you love. I've always loved knives, and now I get to spend lots and lots of time with it. And there are 6 of us that work here full time. That's really satisfying.
I bet it is.
So how many different brands, would that be the right thing to say? Knife brands, knife makers, how many do you carry?
We carry several dozen knife brands and knife makers. We kind of specialize on the higher end stuff. Like we sell a lot of Benchmades and Zero Tolerance and Bark River and Chris Reeve, lots of the higher end, more difficult to get. We kind of specialize on having really good customer service and having the knives that people are looking for.
Have you seen this one?
It fits your hand so nice. I like bigger handles.
And see, that's the interesting thing is it doesn't work for him, it works for you. And that's why...
You don't like the handle?
Well, I like the handle, but it's a little square where the other ones are...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You don't even know you're holding on to them. They feel so good.
Okay, this is the one I really like. Feel how light that is.
Wow, it is really,
it weighs
really
almost
light.
nothing.
It does too.
It's just pretty. I like the look of it. I like this one.
I like how they're not afraid to make a thin handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's my size of knife. I just gravitate towards those. I don't like
That
big knives.
4-inch is kind of the sweet spot in knives in terms of usefulness.
That's a beauty. I like that knife a
Yeah.
lot.
Because you get much larger than that, and you should use an axe anyway.
Yeah, it just
Right.
doesn't feel good.
And this is the one that you said you really liked about. Give them news of what's coming up with the company.
Well, news coming up, of course, is that we currently are in Escanaba, Michigan, but my wife didn't really warm up to the UP.
How can you warm up in the UP?
I don't know. It's the middle of April, and we're about to get 20 inches of snow. But anyway, she didn't warm up to it, so we've decided to move to Chattanooga. And because we can operate our business from just about any place in the country, we just picked some place that we knew we'd like to live.
Will you be in sunny Tennessee while we're up here suffering in the snow next year?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to like to put the question to Derrick. He's got all these knives out here to show us what knives are his favorite, and let's just do the top 3.
Okay. Well, how about we? I can do that. I'll do that. But why don't we
Okay.
back up and say, what is it that makes a good knife? Because
See, this is what the knife guy wants to talk about.
That's a great question.
we actually don't sell junk. But whenever you look at a knife, I mean, anytime you have anything, if you look at making soup, you know, it starts with good ingredients. So you have to have good blade steel, because no matter how beautiful the knife is or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's junk.
Now we know that there's lots of different kinds of blade steel. Do you have a favorite?
Not really. Once you get to the higher end knives, then all of that, you're talking little tiny percentages of better or worse. You know, so you have to decide whether stainless is important to you or not. And once you figure that out, then as long as you go with a good brand of knives and good steel, you're fine. So if you have a knife that you're just going to beat the tar out of, you need a steel that's tougher. And if you've got one that you just want it to hold an edge forever, you kind of go a different way. But really, as long as you get a good knife, it doesn't make that much difference.
So if you wanted a steel that was really tough, what is a good tough steel?
CPM 3V is an excellent steel for that. I mean, you'd have to be a gorilla to break it, probably.
Okay. And what about some of the older, more traditional knife materials like a 1075 and a 1095, A2?
So-
How do you feel about those?
So those are great. Any of those good knife steels, if they're heat treated well, they'll do a great job.
Now, is there a steel to avoid, a knife to avoid? Is that
What I would rather say is that there are steels to lean towards. You know, the higher quality steels, the CPM steels, the good tool steels. You know, it's something that it takes some research, and like at Knife Ship Free, we answer those questions all the time as far as if somebody's wondering about a particular steel, but there are literally hundreds of steels out there. So another part of what makes a great knife is the reputation of the maker. So if you take a maker like Benchmade or Bark River, you know, they're looking at what is this knife going to do, and we're going to put the right steel in that knife to accomplish that task.
So are you saying don't buy a knife that it comes on a cardboard card with a plastic bubble over it?
There's a lot of knives that I would avoid like that, and the gas station is a horrible place to buy a knife. So in addition to steel and the reputation of the maker, then after that you want to look at what is the design of the knife. Does the knife do what it's supposed to do? You know, are you looking for a skinner? Are you looking for a knife that goes in your pocket? Are you looking for a knife to split firewood? What do you want to do with the knife? And then the design has to fit that. So, you know, like fantasy knives, you know, they're not going to do anybody any good unless you're in a movie. And then it's got to be comfortable.
If you're at home playing Dungeons and Dragons, take his advice with that one.
Yeah, that's true. So then the last aspect to what makes a good knife, in my opinion, is, and especially whenever you're buying a knife that's a quality knife, you're going to spend some money. It's not, you know, you're not $19.95 at a gas station. So I guess that buys like 20 knives at a gas station. But anyway, it has to aesthetically please you. You know, it has to speak to you because if you're going to spend $200 on a knife, you don't want one that you look at and you go, it works great, functions great, but I really don't like it.
That's very, very useful information that I think a lot of people might miss. If someone does endless research and they're like, okay, this is probably the greatest knife I can buy, but they buy it just because it's great on paper, but they don't necessarily like it.
Right. I mean, that's
It's
why.
a
That's
great
why
point.
if you buy a knife, like if you buy a knife from Benchmade, you're really not going to go wrong. But whenever I look at knives, this one has zero appeal to me. I don't know why. Sorry, Benchmade. That one has no appeal to me. This Benchmade is one of my favorite knives to carry of all time. You know, this one is one of my favorite knives of all time. But and is there a functional difference between these two? Not really. But I like this one and I don't care for this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree with, it has to just be ready for the purpose you want it to be. It has to be beautiful. I'm drawn to pretty knives and that feel good in my hand. I think probably first.
Yeah.
There is a look and a feel to a knife that makes me want to pick it up.
Right.
And then you go, okay, well, is this going to work for what I want
Yeah,
it
so
to
if you
be?
take all of the knives out there and you say, any of these knives would work for me, then pick out the one you like the best.
So I'm going to take my camera, guys. Let's drool over some of these knives in here and get a closer look. And even at some of those Bark River knives, we didn't really get to see Bark River knives yesterday, and there's some on the wall.
We got
They want anyway. And they're like, oh, should I get this big old fancy knife or should I buy this Fox River? Well, I love the Fox River. And
Oh,
it's
I like
way
this
more
one.
useful. And they were like, okay, I'll take this one.
Isn't
I've been
that
in
pretty?
construction for years, and that's like part of the course. Hey, what do you think if
Love
we did
this knife.
You're like, no.
Ultralight Hunter 1, Bird's Eye Maple. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it's so light.
Practically a starter. You need that though. You need that though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said you have a face for radio.
You actually remind me of Adam from Mythbusters. Which is a cool
That's
thing.
A compliment. I like
That's
it.
a cool thing. He's a cool dude. Oh man, this one is so nice too. What is this one? This is the Bark River Classic Drop Point Hunter. Oh, I love that. Oh, I
What
love
you
these
need,
blonde
Derrick,
handles.
is you need a big full-length mirror at the end of this wall.
I want them all. So you guys, this is Jay. He is the, well, I'm gonna let him tell you what he does here.
I'm the operations manager here at Knife Ship Free. I also designed the Northwoods brand.
I'll just get
Sweet.
real close on you.
He said, I'm looking at all these cool knives, and I got talking about my alone knife. I said, I actually have it with me. It's so embarrassing. You would never want to see it. And he's like, I want to see it. I haven't sharpened, I haven't cleaned this knife since Vancouver Island. It's embarrassing.
High quality knife.
Ooh.
And that's why
It's the Condor wood law that I took on alone.
So it's a 4-inch blade. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's bad.
It needs a little steel wool.
Yeah.
It's 1075 steel with a high carbon with a 4-inch blade, and it has been used.
Yeah, it's ugly.
It's
Dull. Very, very dull.
it could stand a sharpening, but it looks like it did its job. And
Yeah.
it looks like it was handled. So you bought a blank and put your own handles on it?
Yeah, Dave actually put the handle on.
Cool.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job.
Here's a question on
But yeah, it's bad.
It needs some love.
Yeah.
Don't do this to your knives.
What's the legality of Michigan?
Just so you guys can see what this looks like up close. I don't know if I've ever shown this. I think I've shown it on another video. Nothing like the pretty knives we're seeing in here.
So this
Needs a lot of love.
So did you guys make the sheath too?
I made the sheath, yeah, and those are all of our
That's
days.
the days, huh? 49 of those.
Yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
it's embarrassing. Beautiful knife shop, and I'm showing you my crappy,
Good
rusty.
knife. Does its job.
Thanks.
But this is really nice to be able to see everything. Now, as far as your three favorites, you've mentioned Benchmade several
Sure.
times. I think you're
So
probably
I will show you my favorites in those. Here, let me grab a couple of knives and I'll
yeah.
talk about why they're my favorites. All right. Are these three? Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit like all these other knife guys. The favorite one is the one that I have in my pocket. So the one that I'm holding right then. But Let me show you my favorite knives right now. This one is the Fox River by Bark River, and this one is a favorite of mine that has been my favorite for. I could pick any hunting knife, and I have used a number of them, but I haven't hunted for several years. But when I did, this was the knife that I kept coming back to. It's available in A2 and lots of other steels. It's available in this thicker steel, and they've just come out with a thinner one, which actually is more my favorite. But great hunting knife. It's a good all-around knife. People use it for survival and all that stuff too, but it's just my favorite. My current favorite, Benchmade, and we don't even have it out here, but I pulled this one out of my pocket so you know why it's my favorite, is the Bug Out by Benchmade. And what I like about it is it's super light. It weighs almost nothing. And it's S30V steel, so it holds an edge really well. And I love the looks of it. I'm not crazy about the blue, but other than that, it's great. And as far as just a fancy knife, this is my favorite one. This one is the 761 by Benchmade. It has M390 steel, a titanium handle and frame, and it's a frame lock knife. And it's just a slick looking knife. It sits in your hand well, carries in your pocket well. Anyway, those are my knives. That's what I like about it. At least right now.
Guys, thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that. It's my new Bark River knife. Yeah. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at it. It's a bird's eye maple there. First production run on this one. Did you guys just hear my neighbor's donkey? Isn't that beautiful? Look at that gorgeous knife. Oh man. Is a beauty. Yep. Nice sheath with a ferro rod holder on the side. Thing about this knife is I just kept coming back to this in the Knives Ship Free store. It was just gorgeous. I just kept picking it up. I love the way it feels in my hand. And what this one is, so there's the name of it. The Ultralight Hunter One Bird's Eye Maple Burl. Just, it fits me so well. I love, it's got an A2 steel. You know, I don't know much about steel. Convex grind. First production run on this. It's stamped right into the blade. Oh, it's just pretty. You know, I'm drawn to knives at first, just how they look and feel in my hand. So, I had to splurge, guys. I don't splurge like this. This is gonna be an heirloom one day. One of my kids will get this knife. In the meantime, I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy it. Where'd the sheath go? Hello? Oh, it's in the box. Let's see what this thing looks like in here. Oh yeah. See, that's not a very big knife. That's just perfect. I like the smell of leather. I like the smell of a new knife. What's that smell like? Well, it smells a couple $100 lighter in the pocket, but after going through a tour of Bark River Knives with Mike Stewart, the owner, and then going to Knife Ship Free and meeting Derrick and Jay, I had to buy a knife, and this one is just so pretty. So guys, there it is, my new Bark River knife. She's a beauty. Hey guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you think of my new knife. And if maybe you want a Bark River knife, check out the links below to Bark River Knives and Knife Ship Free. Thanks to Derrick and Jay for having us and showing us around their showroom. And best of luck to them as they move to Tennessee. We're gonna miss them here in Michigan. Don't forget to check out the links below to both of those stand-up businesses. This is not a sponsored video in any way. This is just based on our experience there, visiting, and them welcoming us with open arms and great hospitality. Great companies, and I got myself a new knife. So guys, that's gonna do it for me. This is Girl in the Woods. She gone. don't forget to get outside and get happy.